morning, everyone, and welcome back to Good Morning KU Sports. I'm your host, Lexi, and what a week of sports we've had here at KU, and not necessarily in the best way. The men's basketball team struggled with 2 back-to-back losses over the past week, first at Arizona on Saturday, then at Arizona State on Tuesday. Back on February 9th, the Jayhawks faced Arizona at home and managed to upset the number 1 seed, 82-78. Unfortunately, the Fieldhouse wasn't with us for this rematch, so Arizona managed to secure the win. On Tuesday, the Jayhawks took a trip to Tempe, Arizona to face unranked ASU. I'm sure that most of us expected it to be an easy road win, but things did not go as planned. Officials made an offensive foul call on Peterson in the first half, which left most of the team, and especially Coach Self, very confused. And when I say confused, I mean angry, very angry. Self lost it on the refs and was handed 2 technical fouls, resulting in an ejection from the game. The women's basketball team also faced an upsetting home loss against Oklahoma State on Saturday, 70-56. Freshman Jalea Davis scored a game high of 24 points, but it wasn't enough to win on the road. Next stop for the Jayhawks will be the Big 12 women's basketball tournament at the T-Mobile Center, which kicked off on March 4th. To give us a more detailed look at what's been going on and what's to come, Summer and Emil will be up next with the Jayhawks Sports Report. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I always just clap at the start.
This is where everyone's talking amongst themselves. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it?
Are we supposed to smile?
When do we start? Somebody over here already started.
Can we talk about the piccolo part's the most complicated one?
It is. If you listen, you're doing it when the band's not playing.
You have to tell me when it starts. I still don't know.
Here we go. Just clapping now.
No humps. Nailed it.
I practiced this morning.
Karma's just 2 people.
It has a right and a wrong way of doing it. No. Wrong.
I like my way better.
I don't know how to
1,
do
2,
the
3,
end.
4.
It's just I don't know the
Sorry.
head.
It's hard by yourself.
Thanks, Lexi. The Kansas Jayhawks men's basketball team just came home from a 2-game road trip that unfortunately saw the Jayhawks go 0-2 in Arizona. The first game, the Jayhawks came into Tucson needing a win against the number 2 ranked Arizona Wildcats, and despite an 11-point deficit at halftime, the Jayhawks clawed their way back to within 2, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Arizona took advantage of Kansas' smaller lineup, and they went on a 19-0 run that eventually forced Jayhawks coach Bill Self to call 2 timeouts in a span of 1 minute and 12 seconds. Kansas missed 9 straight shots during that run, and the Wildcats kept the heat on, stretching that lead to 37-19 and ultimately winning the game. And then that second game of the road trip, the Jayhawks went into Tempe and faced the Arizona State Sun Devils, and despite a close and competitive game, that Tempe atmosphere played a huge part in giving the Sun Devils the edge. Alongside that atmosphere, Kansas saw head coach Bill Self ejected in the first half of that game, and despite a 17-1 run and cutting the lead within 2, the Jayhawks ultimately fell 60-70, ending that Arizona road trip 0-2. It's officially March, and you know what that means. It's March Madness. The Kansas Jayhawks women's basketball team won their first game of the Big 12 tournament on Wednesday, beating UCF 56-35. However, last night, they lost their second matchup against Colorado 48-55. Being a team that's outside looking in, this makes it extremely hard for the Jayhawks to make the NCAA tournament, and not saying it's 0, but it's definitely a low amount.
I won't go too in depth on these results, however, as we'll have Sam in a minute giving you all the details for what's in store for both the men's and women's basketball team. On Sunday afternoon, the Jayhawks secured a back-and-forth win in Minneapolis against the Golden Gophers 8-3, sending the Jayhawks home with a series split. The 7-3 Golden Gophers took an early lead in the first inning with a leadoff triple, In the fourth, Max Solis Jr. tied the game at 1-1 with a sacrifice fly. However, Minnesota made that run back later on in the bottom of the fourth inning with a single by Jamison Martin, putting the score up 2-1. With the Golden Gophers up once again, but not for long. Shortly after, Tyson Owens kicked off the top of the fifth inning with a solo home run, tying the game up once again. A pair of runs from Beatty Ballinger and Daryl Osoria put up the Jayhawks in the top of the sixth inning with their first lead of the game, putting the score at 4-2. A solo run from Weber Niels of Minnesota reeled the game in a little bit closer at the bottom of the sixth. However, the Jayhawks were able to hold on to their one-run lead through the ninth inning, where Dylan Schlotterback, Josh Dykoff, Owens, and Austin Mungarieta scored a stretch to lead 8-3. Thursday afternoon, the Hawks secured a win against the St. Thomas Tommies at Hoagland for the season opener. 2-10 St. Thomas benefited off of an early fielding error in the first inning to take a 1-0 lead. Kansas responded later in the fourth inning with a score on a balk from Augusto Mungarieta, tying the game at 1-1. Unfortunately, the Tommies were able to regain the lead with a single from Matthew Malik at the top of the fifth inning, but not for long before the Hawks tied the game back up in the bottom of the fifth with a two-out single from Daryl Osoria. In the eighth, Kansas was able to stretch the lead to 4-2 with 2 runs after scoreless sixth and seventh innings. This win puts the Jayhawks at 8-4 so far this year, and let's keep an eye out for Kansas basketball and go out to support them as they take on St. Thomas at Hoagland this afternoon. First pitch is at 1 p.m. The 15-7 Kansas softball team has also been busy collecting dubs at the Woo Pig Classic this past weekend with wins over Omaha, Boise State, and Charlotte before unfortunately falling to the Razorbacks in Fayetteville 11-3, finishing 4-1 in the Classic. The Jayhawks scored a combined 25 runs in the first 2 games of the series, all without playing past 7 innings, run ruling Boise State and Charlotte. These wins also came with some standout stats to take a look at. In the win over Omaha, pitcher Kaylee Washington hit a season high with 8 strikeouts in a single game. Ella Boyer also helped to secure the win over Omaha with a 2 RBI single. Candace Stratford had some great hits over the Classic, including an RBI single against Omaha and then a 2-run homer over Boise State. After the Woo Pig Classic, the Hawks secured a 9-1 run rule over Wichita State on Wednesday night with runs from Cadence Stratford, Ella Boyer, Haley Kripe, Presley Limbaugh, and Campbell Bagshaw, helping the Jayhawks stretch the score and close out the game in just 5 innings. Head coach Jennifer McFalls said that the energy was great and she was proud of the team for staying locked in from start to finish. Stay tuned for more news from Kansas softball as they have their home opener series this weekend against Utah State. In track and field news, the Jayhawks had 5 athletes qualify for the NCAA Indoor Championships this March. We got Mason Meaners-Hagan qualified for the women's pole vault, Ashton Barkdale and Anthony Meckham in the men's pole vault, as well as John Swabik and Taton Klein in the men's heptathlon. The men's heptathlon is a 2-day event consisting of the 60-meter, long jump, shot put, high jump, 60-meter hurdles, pole vault, and 1,000-meter run. Taton Klein was Kansas's very first heptathlon Big 12 champion, his record mark being top in the Big 12, 9th in the country, and 25 best in the world. This is Klein's first time qualifying for the indoor championship after competing in the first 3 seasons at the outdoor. John Swabik qualified for the indoor championship with a PB heptathlon at the DeLoss Dodds Invitational with a score of 5,864 points. This mark puts him right behind Klein at the 2nd in the Big 12 and 10th in the country. Anthony Meckham had a 5.65-meter vault, which qualified him for the championship for the first time, also earning the 2nd highest Big 12 mark and 10th best in the country. Ashton Barkdale finished up behind Meckham as the Big 12 runner-up and also won the 2025 Outdoor Championship. This will be Mason Meaners-Higgins' 3rd time competing in the NCAA Indoor Championship, looking to place better than her 4th finish last year. That's all Emil and I have for your Jayhawk Sports Report. Here's Sophia with NBA News.
Welcome back again. I'm Sophia, and now I'll be covering what is happening in the NBA world. Several major storylines are developing right now around the league as teams push toward the end of the season. First, Trae Young made his debut with the Washington Wizards on Thursday, marking a major moment for the franchise as they add one of the league's most dynamic playmakers. He played for 19 minutes, scored 12 points with 2 rebounds and 6 assists. Meanwhile, in the rookie race, Colin Knueppel has surged up in the rankings and recently surpassed Cooper Flagg, who entered the season as a top overall pick in the 2025 draft. Flagg returned to the floor Thursday for the Dallas Mavericks after missing 8 games with a midfoot sprain. Even on minutes restriction, he finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks in 26 minutes, while also breaking a 1,000-point career record, becoming the 2nd youngest player in NBA history to achieve that record. The Mavericks narrowly lost to the Orlando Magic 115-114 on a last-second dunk. Elsewhere in the league, Giannis has returned from injury for the Milwaukee Bucks, adding a major boost to their lineup. The Charlotte Hornets are also heating up, currently riding a 6-game winning streak and taking down the Celtics. Speaking of Boston, breaking news tonight, Celtics All-Star player Jason Tatum is expected to return this season and could make his debut today against the Mavericks, less than 10 months after surgery for a ruptured Achilles tendon. This would be the fastest recovery since Kobe Bryant. Out west, the San Antonio Spurs are inching closer to top speed in the Western Conference after cutting the OKC Thunder lead to just 3 games. And finally, the MVP race continues to heat up right now. Nikola Jokic leads the race slightly ahead of Shai Alexander as both players continue putting up dominant performances for their teams. The playoff picture is tightening, and with only a few weeks left in regular season, every game matters. That's all I have for right now. Here's Brandon with some predictions on the World Baseball Classic.
Thanks, Sophia. The 2026 World Baseball Classic has officially begun. The tournament began on Thursday, March 4th, and will run until Tuesday, March 17th. There are a total of 20 countries in the field, split into 4 groups of 5. Pool A is in San Juan and consists of Canada, Colombia, Cuba, Panama, and Puerto Rico. Pool B is in Houston and holds Brazil, Great Britain, Italy, Mexico, and the United States. Australia, Korea, Japan, Chinese Taipei, and Czechia make up Pool C in Tokyo, and the Dominican Republic, Israel, Netherlands, Nicaragua, and Venezuela make up Pool D in Miami. Pool play will be a round-robin format where every country plays the others in their pool once. The top 2 teams based on win percentage will then move on to the quarterfinals. If teams' records are tied, head-to-head results would break the tiebreaker. The quarterfinals shift from a round-robin to a single elimination throughout the remainder of the tournament. The last World Baseball Classic in 2023 brought us Team USA versus Team Japan in a championship thriller. Japan defeated the U.S. 3-2 in dramatic fashion after star Shohei Ohtani struck out then Angels teammate and USA captain Mike Trout in the top of the 9th inning for the win. Currently, Team USA is favored to win the tournament at -110 odds, followed by the Dominican Republic at +340 and Japan at +380. This year's USA team is filled with star-studded talent, having a total of 17 of MLB's top 100 players on the roster. Number 2 ranked Yankees center fielder Aaron Judge and number 3 ranked Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. headline the American team. Team USA also has 2 top pitchers on its roster, number 4 ranked Detroit Tiger Tarik Skubal and number 6 ranked Pittsburgh Pirate Paul Skeens. Skubal, however, has brought up some controversy among fans after he announced that he was only going to throw 55 pitches in the Americans' matchup against Great Britain and then would return to Tigers spring training to prioritize his health and ensure he is ready for the upcoming season, missing the remainder of the tournament. Many have raised the question as to why Skubal should even be on the team if he is just going to leave after 1 game. The Dominican Republic follows Team USA with the second most top 100 MLB players on the tournament roster with 10, all of whom fall within the top 50. New York Mets right fielder Juan Soto, Seattle Mariners center fielder Julio Rodriguez, and Toronto Blue Jays first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are 3 of the top 10 stars for the Dominican Republic. Japan is led by the number 1 ranked player in the MLB, Shohei Ohtani, and World Series MVP Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The United States will play its first game of the tournament on Friday, March 6th against Brazil at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Keep up with the World Baseball Classic over the next 2 weeks to see if Team USA can follow in the steps of the men's and women's hockey teams at this year's Winter Olympics as they look to represent the United States on baseball's most global stage. After this short break, Sam is going to give us a recap on KU basketball as well as a look into some upcoming games for the Jayhawks.
KU men's basketball is looking to get back in the win column tomorrow night as they face the Kansas State Wildcats on senior night. On Tuesday, the Jayhawks traveled to Tempe, Arizona to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Kansas got off to a slow start, trailing 40-20 at halftime, their lowest scoring first half of the season. KU responded in the second half, cutting the deficit to just 2 points, and they did it without head coach Bill Self, who was ejected midway through the first half. But the comeback fell short as Arizona State held on for the 70-60 win. Sun Devils senior guard Mo Odom led the way with 23 points, shooting 50% from 3. Last Saturday, Kansas was also on the road in Tucson, facing the second-ranked Arizona Wildcats. The Jayhawks again started slow, ultimately losing 84-61. That loss hurt Kansas's chances at the Big 12 regular season title. Now the Jayhawks turn their focus to senior night against Kansas State, the final game of the regular season before the Big 12 tournament begins on March 10th. Over the weekend on the women's side, 2 Kansas Jayhawks earned all Big 12 honors. Freshman Jylan Davis was named the Big 12 Freshman of the Year and was also selected for all Big 12 first team. Her teammate, Samaya Nichols, joined her on the first team. On Wednesday, the Jayhawks opened play in the Big 12 tournament against UCF. Kansas won in convincing fashion, beating the Knights 56-35. Jyla Davis led the way with a double-double, finishing with 10 points and 11 rebounds. Last night, the Kansas Jayhawks faced Colorado. At halftime, Kansas trailed 26-18. Samaya Nichols did everything she could to keep the Jayhawks in the game, finishing with 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Despite the effort, Kansas fell to Colorado 55-48, eliminating the Jayhawks from the Big 12 tournament. Now, Kansas will have to wait to see if they even make the tournament. Right now, it looks like the Jayhawks are on the outside looking in, but their fate will be decided on Selection Sunday, March 15th. That's all I have for Kansas basketball right now. Here's Brandon with a preview of everyone's favorite month, March Madness.
Thanks, Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the best month of the year, March. The third month of the year is the mother lode for sports, specifically college basketball. We have conference tournaments ramping up, as well as the greatest tournament of the year, March Madness. Every year, without fail, March Madness delivers. From upset wins in the first round to Cinderella runs to unforgettable moments, this tournament has it all. I hope you guys are as excited for this tournament as I am to get going. Let's take a look at how the 2026 March Madness tournament could look, and I'll even give you guys some of my predictions. Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and UConn are currently the predictions to be the number 1 seeds in their respective bracket regions. The 2 seeds consist of Michigan State, Houston, Florida, and Illinois, with Texas Tech, Nebraska, Purdue, and Iowa State rounding out the top 3 seeds in the majority of projections. Currently, Kansas is projected to be a 4 seed. However, after its loss to unranked Arizona State, the Jayhawks could be teetering towards a 5 seed if they struggle against Kansas State at home this Saturday. Florida looks to defend its national championship title from the 2025 season. The Gators were preseason number 3 ranked team in college basketball and were unranked by week 9, but are one of the hottest teams in college basketball at the moment, climbing back into the top 5 of the latest AP poll after winning their last 10 games. There are a lot of teams on the bubble at the moment as well, but I want to focus on 2, Miami of Ohio and TCU. Miami is currently 30-0 on the season, recently won the MAC regular season title, and has the chance to complete an undefeated season on Friday night in an in-state matchup against Ohio. You may ask yourself, how can a team go undefeated and not be a tournament lock? I completely agree. However, the committee views it differently right now. The Mid-American Conference hasn't received multiple team bids into the tournament since the 1999 and 1998 season. And as it stands, Akron holds a higher ranking from the committee. Now, if Miami wins its conference tournament, the conversation will be closed. If they lose, however, it raises a serious question of whether or not winning every regular season game should get a team into the tournament, regardless of schedule. The other team to keep an eye on is TCU. The Horned Frogs have won 7 of their last 10 games, including wins against number 6 Iowa State and number 10 Texas Tech in Lubbock. TCU has a combined record of 10-8 in Quad 1 and Quad 2. The latest bracketology sets the Big 12 with 8 total entries into the tournament, and TCU and Cincinnati are both fighting for that 8th spot. While TCU's resume looks far superior to the Bearcats, a home matchup against Cincinnati could determine which team makes it in. If it's TCU, watch out for a potential Cinderella run from a team that is peaking at the perfect moment. Speaking of Cinderella runs, I wanted to give you guys my favorite Cinderella team this year, as well as my Final Four and championship predictions. The Georgia Bulldogs are a team that I absolutely love at the moment. As it looks right now in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, Georgia would be a 9 seed and match up against 8 seed Miami, Florida, not Ohio. I believe that the Bulldogs, who have more Quad 1 wins than the Hurricanes, may I add, will take this game. Georgia would then match up against the number 1 seed UConn Huskies, bearing a historic upset to a 16 seed, which has only happened twice. The Huskies have had some good wins on the season, as well as some pretty bad losses in a conference that really is not that strong. Georgia spent the year in a much tougher conference and has won 4 of its last 5, including a recent win over number 16 Alabama. I'm taking the Bulldogs to knock off the Huskies and advance to the Sweet 16. As for my Final Four, I have Florida representing the South, Arizona out of the West, Iowa State defeating Duke in the Elite Eight to represent the East, and Houston coming out of the Midwest region. 3 teams from the Big 12, which is most definitely the best conference in college basketball, make up my Final Four at the moment. This would match Arizona against Iowa State and Florida against Houston. I take Florida to take down the Cougars, and in one of the best games in recent tournaments that we've ever seen, Iowa State will defeat Arizona. With that being said, give me the Iowa State Cyclones to bring home the hardware for the 2026 season. Let me know what you think of my predictions and pass your predictions along as well so we can see how everyone does. Tournament tip-off is on March 17th, so make sure to get those brackets in. Thanks for listening to my thoughts on this year's March Madness tournament. Stay tuned after this quick break as Sophia is going to give us a look into MLB spring training.
This is Cecilia. Cecilia goes about her day like everyone else. She gets ready for the day, cleans her dorm, and does her homework. Good job, Cecilia. But even though it doesn't show, Cecilia is not feeling like her best self. She feels like she can't talk to anyone about how she feels, because every college kid is supposed to feel this way. Right? Well, no. Cecilia realizes that she needs to talk to someone, so she goes to the KU Health Center for a Jayhawk check-in. Cecilia feels heard. It's okay to not be okay.
5,
See you later.
4, 3,
Thanks
2,
for coming.
1, and they're on.
How's it going, everybody?
Welcome back. March is officially here, and for baseball fans, that means one thing: baseball's back. Spring training kicked off February 20th and will run through opening night showdown, March 25th, with the Yankees facing the Giants in New York. This gives these teams a few weeks to get ready for the regular season. Profar has gotten suspended once again for performance-enhancing substances, and this is the second time in 2 seasons. Braves manager Walt Weiss said he's disappointed but determined to keep a positive outlook after Profar's suspension. The Padres nearly hit a spring training 30 bomb on the Mariners with 12 runs in the second inning and 17 by the third. They won 27-6 with 27 runs on 28 hits. Go Padres! Almost every game yesterday, on Thursday, was double digits, which does not typically happen in spring training. Out of the 14 games, half of them were double-digit scoring. Matt McClain is leading players in spring training. He's leading in home runs, runs batted in, hit batting averages, on-base percentage, slugging, and base plus slugging. Back in Major League Baseball news, the Milwaukee Brewers are turning heads this year. For the first time in a decade, Milwaukee sits at the top of the MLB's pipeline farm system rankings, signaling one of the strongest groups of promising young talent in baseball. Another storyline to watch out for this season involves Bryce Harper. Harper enters both the World Baseball Classic and the 2026 MLB season coming off what may be considered a down year. He hit for an average of .261 with 27 home runs and an .844 on-base plus slugging average, while missing time with a wrist injury. For most players, those numbers would be still excellent, but Harper's consistently elite play has set an incredibly high standard with 2 MVP awards, a Rookie of the Year title, and multiple All-Star appearances already under his belt. His path to the Hall of Fame is looking stronger every year. Plenty of baseball action around the world as the World Baseball Classic Championship continues. That's all I have at the moment, but here's Josie with the weather.
Thanks, Sophia. We've had quite the night last night as we had some thunderstorms roll into the area. Lingering around this morning, they're finally starting to move out a little bit as we see some sunshine. We're going to stay breezy throughout the day today, very strong wind gusts, and we're seeing some storm chances develop tonight as a cold front sweeps through the area again. I know there was some chance for some severe weather, some tornadoes that people were talking about. I don't think it's going to happen. Right now we have a temperature of 68 degrees. We see a partly cloudy sky, the sun shining through. These are low clouds, so if you do see an opening of clouds, you're going to have some direct sunlight. It's going to be pretty warm. But how quick can we clear out of this cloud cover and get into some warmer temperatures? We have a south wind right now at 19 miles per hour, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. This is not a light wind. These are very strong wind gusts. And like I said, We have some low clouds over in Manhattan, and as we move further towards our area in West Topeka, a little bit more cloud cover. Again, this is clearing out further west, and it's coming our way with some sunshine. Now in Lawrence as well, a little bit cloudier. It has become more clear. This picture was about an hour ago, so since then we've seen a little bit more sunshine return to the area. Temperatures right now 68 to 67. 68 in Lawrence, Topeka, Kansas City, and Ottawa. A little bit cooler up north, 67 degrees in Leavenworth. But if we clear out of these clouds, we should see temperatures reach into the 70s, 72. I think these might be a little bit leaning towards the warm side. I think low 70s, maybe reaching 70. I don't think we'll see temperatures into the middle 70s at all. Cloud cover clearing out through the afternoon, and then our winds stay persistent out of the south 18 miles per hour, and then this evening we see cloud cover build back in as a cold front moves through the area, and our winds will become out of the northwest tomorrow morning. Temperatures tomorrow, we should see slightly cooler as that cold front pushes through with some rain chances tonight, some thunderstorms, not as strong as last night. Temperatures tomorrow 61 with a partly cloudy sky. Clouds clearing throughout the night tonight after we move through those storms. Wind gusts tomorrow 22, so slightly lighter than today, but still pretty breezy. Winds sustained at 15 miles per hour. Once we get past this weekend, we're looking to rebound quite nicely. Temperatures into the 70. Again, another rain chance on Tuesday with some evening showers. Temperatures 77 degrees on Tuesday, but cooling down significantly on Wednesday with a temperature of 53. Overall, we've had some interesting weather. Back to you, Lexi.
Thank you, Josie, and thank you for joining us this morning on Good Morning KU Sports. We won't be here for the next 2 weeks because of spring break, but we will be back on March 27th. Be sure to watch Playmakers later today at noon, and as always, rock chalk.